The rain battered the cracked pavement of a Chicago alley, where a shivering girl, barely 16, clutched a tattered backpack. Her name was Ellie Harper, and her world had just collapsed. Her parents' final words, "You're too ugly, too broken for us," echoed like a curse as she huddled against a dumpster, abandoned for who she was. Ellie wasn't just cast out for her looks. It was her truth that they couldn't bear. Born Elias, she had come out as transgender at 15, her heart pounding with hope for acceptance. Instead, her parents, pillars of their conservative suburb, saw her as a stain on their perfect image. They'd driven her to this alley, tossed her belongings into the mud, and left without a backward glance. Now, alone, Ellie's tears mixed with the rain, but a spark of defiance flickered in her chest. She wouldn't let their rejection define her. The city was unforgiving, but Ellie was scrappy. She found shelter in a rundown community center, where a kind volunteer, Ms. Rosa, offered her a cot and a hot meal. Rosa, a no-nonsense woman with graying braids, saw something in Ellie's haunted Isa fire that refused to die. "You're stronger than you know, kid," Rosa said, handing her a flyer for a youth support group. Ellie hesitated but went, her first step into a world that didn't flinch at her truth. The group was a lifeline. There, Ellie met others like her, teens navigating their identities in a world that often turned its back. Among them was Jamie, a lanky boy with a crooked smile and a passion for photography. He carried a beat-up camera everywhere, capturing moments of raw humanity. "You've got a story in your eyes," he told Ellie one day, snapping a candid shot of her laughing. She blushed, unaccustomed to being seen as anything but wrong. Their friendship bloomed quickly, a quiet anchor in the storm of her life. Ellie scraped by, working odd jobs, cleaning houses, washing dishes while attending night classes to finish high school. Her dreams were bigger than survival, though. She wanted to be a filmmaker, to tell stories that could change hearts. Jamie believed in her, lending her his camera to practice. Late nights in the community center's basement, they'd edit shaky footage on a borrowed laptop, laughing and dreaming of a future where their art mattered. But the world wasn't kind to dreamers like Ellie. One night, a group of men cornered her outside a diner, their slurs cutting deeper than the bruises they left. She stumbled back to the center, bloodied but unbroken, and found Jamie waiting. He didn't ask questions, just held her as she cried, promising, "We'll make them see you, Ellie, the real you." His words became her mantra, fueling her resolve. She started small, posting short videos online about her life, raw, unfiltered clips of her struggles and small victories. Her first video, a shaky monologue about surviving that alley, went viral. Comments flooded in, some hateful, but many from people who saw themselves in her pain. "You're not alone," they wrote. Ellie read every message, her heart swelling with purpose. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was building something. By 19, Ellie had a small but loyal following. Her videos, now sharper thanks to Jamie's guidance, blended her story with others' queer youth, outcasts, dreamers. She called her channel Unseen, a tribute to those society ignored. Jamie's photos became the visual heartbeat of her work, each frame capturing the beauty in brokenness. Their partnership was electric, their bond deepening into something neither dared name yet. One evening, as they filmed in a park, Jamie turned the camera on Ellie. "Why do you do this?" he asked, his voice soft but probing. She paused, then looked straight into the lens. "Because no one should feel like they don't belong. I want to show the world we're worth seeing." Her words, raw and fierce, resonated with thousands. That video hit 1 million views. And suddenly, opportunities knocked sponsorships, speaking gigs, even a local news feature. But success brought shadows. Ellie's parents, now aware of her growing fame, sent a letter demanding she stop embarrassing them. They claimed her videos twisted their story, painting them as villains. Ellie's hands shook as she read their words, the old wounds reopening. Jamie found her staring at the letter, eyes glassy. "They don't get to control you anymore," he said, his voice steady. "You're bigger than their shame." Ellie tore the letter in half, her resolve hardening. She wasn't just telling her story anymore, she was rewriting the narrative for everyone like her. With Jamie by her side, she planned her boldest project yet, a documentary about abandoned queer youth. A film that would force the world to listen. But as her star rose, so did the threats, online trolls, angry letters, and whispers of her past circling like vultures. Ellie knew the road ahead would test her, but she was ready to fight. Ellie threw herself into the documentary, her vision clear but her resources scarce. She and Jamie scoured Chicago for stories, filming in cramped apartments, park benches, and shelters. Each interview cracked her heart open. Teens like Marcus, kicked out for being gay, or Lena, a non-binary kid couch surfing to survive. Their pain mirrored her own, but so did their resilience. Ellie wove their voices together, her camera a tool for justice. Jamie's role grew beyond photography. He became her co-director, his quiet confidence balancing her fiery passion. They'd argue over shots. Ellie wanted raw emotion. Jamie pushed for polish, but their fights always ended in laughter. One night, editing in their cramped studio, a corner of Rose's basement, Jamie brushed Ellie's hand while reaching for the mouse. The air stilled, their eyes locking. "You make this worth it," he whispered. Ellie's heart raced, but fear held her back. Could she trust love after so much loss? Their work gained traction. A local LGBTQ+ organization offered a small grant, enough to rent better equipment. Ellie's channel, unseen, now had 500,000 subscribers, and her comment sections buzzed with support. But the hate grew too. Trolls doxed her, leaking her old address. One message chilled her: "We know where you are, Elias." The use of her dead name felt like a blade. Jamie insisted on staying over at her tiny apartment, sleeping on the couch to keep her safe. The documentary, titled Out of the Shadows, took shape. Ellie poured her soul into it, blending her story with others. She filmed a scene at the alley where her parents left her, her voice steady as she narrated, "This is where I was told I wasn't enough. But I'm still here." Jamie's camera lingered on her face, capturing the strength in her vulnerability. The footage was powerful, but Ellie felt exposed, like she was bearing her scars to the world. A breakthrough came when a Chicago film festival invited them to submit a rough cut. The catch: they had 3 months to finish, and Ellie was burning out. Sleepless nights editing, dodging threats, and wrestling with self-doubt took a toll. One evening, she snapped at Jamie over a missed deadline, her exhaustion spilling over. "Why do you even stick around?" she yelled. Jamie didn't flinch. Because I see you. Ellie. All of you. His words disarmed her. And for the first time, she let herself cry in his arms. The weight of her past easing just a little. They pushed forward, their bond deepening. Jamie opened up about his own struggles growing up in foster care, finding solace in his camera. "You're my home now," he told her one night. And Ellie felt the walls around her heart crack. They kissed under a street lamp, the city's hum fading as they held each other. It was a moment of light in their grueling work. But the clock was ticking. The festival deadline loomed. And Ellie faced a new challenge, her parents. They'd caught wind of the documentary and hired a lawyer, threatening to sue for defamation. A letter arrived, demanding she remove any mention of them. Ellie's stomach churned as she read it, their cold words dragging her back to that rainy alley. She wanted to fight, but fear crept in cold they'd derail everything she'd built. Jamie suggested they meet with a pro bono lawyer from the LGBTQ+ organization. The lawyer, a sharp woman named Carla, reviewed the case and assured Ellie her story was hers to tell. "Truth is your defense," Carla said. "But be ready, they'll come for you." Ellie nodded, her resolve steeling. She wouldn't let her parents silence her again. As they polished the documentary, Ellie and Jamie filmed a final interview with Rosa, who'd become a surrogate mother. Rosa's words were a balm. "Family isn't blood, it's the people who show up." The quote became the heart of their film, a message of hope for anyone cast out. With the rough cut nearly done, Ellie felt a surge of pride. They were closiso clasido, showing the world what she and Jamie could do. But the night before the festival submission, disaster struck. Someone broke into their studio, trashing their equipment and stealing their hard drive. Ellie stared at the wreckage, her heart sinking. Years of work gone. Jamie grabbed her hand, his voice fierce. "We're not done. We'll rebuild." As they salvaged what they could, Ellie realized this was bigger than her pine. It was about every kid like her, waiting to be seen. The theft was a gut punch, but Ellie refused to break. She and Jamie pieced together what remained backup files on a cloud drive, scattered footage on old SD cards. They worked through the night, fueled by coffee and desperation, rebuilding out of the shadows. By dawn, they had a rough cut, imperfect but powerful. They submitted it to the festival just before the deadline, collapsing in exhaustion. Ellie felt a flicker of hope, but the weight of the break-in lingered. Who had done this? The festival accepted their film, a small victory that lit a fire in Ellie. She and Jamie promoted it relentlessly, posting teasers on Unseen. The response was overwhelming. Fans shared the clips, and the hashtag Out of the Shadows trended. But so did the threats. Ellie's inbox filled with vitriol, some messages hinting at her parents' involvement. "You'll regret this, Elias." One read. She blocked the sender, but the unease grew. Rebuilding meant leaning on their community. Rosa rallied volunteers to replace equipment, and Marcus and Lena, from the documentary, helped with reshoots. Ellie was floored by their support. "You gave us a voice," Marcus told her. "We've got your back." Their loyalty reminded her why she started this connection. Not just survival. Jamie, ever her rock, kept her grounded, his quiet humor cutting through her stress. As the festival approached, Ellie and Jamie polished their film. They added a new scene, Ellie speaking directly to the camera, her voice steady but raw. I was told I was ugly, unworthy. But I'm here. And so are millions like me. We're not invisible. Jamie's editing made the moment soar. Her words a rallying cry. Test screenings left audiences in tears. And whispers of awards buzz began. But Ellie's parents weren't done. Days before the festival, they went public, giving an interview to a local news outlet. They called Ellie confused, claiming they'd only wanted to protect her. The story painted her as a troubled runaway, not a girl they'd abandoned. Social media exploded, with some siding with her parents. Ellie felt the ground shift beneath her, the old shame creeping back. Jamie found her pacing, eyes red. They're lying to save face. He said, "Your truth is louder." The festival was a whirlwind. Out of the Shadows premiered to a packed theater. The audience a mix of queer youth, allies, and curious strangers. Ellie stood in the back, gripping Jamie's hand, as their film played. When her alley scene hit, sobs echoed through the room. The final frame Rose's quote about family drew applause. Ellie's heart swelled. This was what she'd fought for. The Q&A was electric. Ellie spoke with a fire she hadn't known she had, answering questions about her journey. One teen asked, "How do you keep going when everyone hates you?" Ellie paused, then said, "Find one person who sees you. That's enough to start." Jamie squeezed her shoulder, his pride palpable. The film won Best Documentary, and offers poured in distributors, streaming platforms, even a national tour. But the high was short-lived. Her parents' lawyers served papers at the festival, accusing Ellie of libel. The lawsuit claimed her film misrepresented their actions, demanding she pull it. Carla, their lawyer, was ready, but the legal battle would be brutal. Ellie felt the weight of it. But Jamie's voice cut through. They can't erase what you've done. Ellie decided to fight back not just in court, but publicly. She posted a video on Unseen, addressing the lawsuit. "My parents left me in an alley because I'm trans. That's the truth. I won't stop telling it." The video went viral, sparking a wave of support. "I Stand with Ellie" trended, and donations poured in for her legal fund. Strangers shared their own stories of rejection, turning her fight into a movement. As the legal storm brewed, Ellie and Jamie prepared for the national tour. They'd take Out of the Shadows to cities across America, amplifying queer voices. But the break-in still haunted Ellie. A tip from a fan pointed to a local group tied to her parents' church, known for targeting queer activists. Ellie's blood ran cold had her family orchestrated it. She and Jamie vowed to find proof. Their fight now bigger than ever. Ellie and Jamie hit the road. Their documentary now a beacon for queer youth. The national tour kicked off in New York, where hundreds packed a small theater. Ellie stood on stage, her voice trembling at first, then growing steady as she shared her story. Jamie's photos flashed on a screen behind her, each image a testament to resilience. The crowd roared when the film ended, some rushing to hug Ellie, their tears staining her jacket. She felt invincible, but the lawsuit loomed like a storm cloud. Backstage, Jamie pulled her close. "You're changing lives," he said, his eyes bright. Their relationship had deepened on the road. Stolen kisses in hotel rooms and late-night talks about their dreams. Ellie loved him fiercely but feared losing him to the chaos of her life. "What if this breaks us?" she asked one night. Jamie cupped her face. Nothing's breaking us. Ellie, we're in this. The tour was grueling 10 cities in a month but electric. In Seattle, a trans teen told Ellie her film stopped them from giving up. In Atlanta, a mother apologized for rejecting her gay son, inspired to reconnect. Each story fueled Ellie, but the threats followed. Hate mail arrived at venues, and protests popped up outside screenings. One night in Dallas, a rock shattered their van's window. A note tied to it, "Stop or else." Ellie's hands shook, but Jamie's calm voice steadied her. "They're scared of you," he said. Carla, their lawyer, uncovered a lead on the break-in. A disgruntled ex-member of her parents' church claimed it was a warning to silence Ellie. The evidence was thin, but it pointed to a man named Greg, a deacon with a history of harassing queer activists. Ellie's stomach churned. She remembered Greg from childhood, his stern face at Sunday services. Could her parents have known? She and Jamie hired a private investigator, determined to connect the dots. The lawsuit gained traction. Her parents' lawyer painted them as victims, claiming Ellie's film exaggerated their actions for clout. A deposition was scheduled, forcing Ellie to face them in court. She hadn't seen them in years, and the thought made her nauseous. Jamie practiced with her, role-playing tough questions to prepare. "You're not that scared kid anymore," he reminded her. Still, nightmares of that rainy alley haunted her sleep. In Los Angeles, the tour's biggest stop, Out of the Shadows screened at a historic theater. Celebrities attended, and a streaming giant offered a distribution deal. Ellie was floored. Millions would see her work. But during the Q&A, a heckler shouted her dead name, sparking chaos. Security escorted him out, but Ellie's heart raced. Jamie took her hand, whispering, "You're bigger than their hate." She nodded, stepping back to the mic to finish, her voice unwavering. The investigator found a breakthrough. Security footage from a nearby shop showed Greg near their studio the night of the break-in. It wasn't enough for an arrest, but it was leverage. Ellie confronted her fears, posting about the lead online. "If you're trying to scare me, it's not working," she said in a video, her eyes fierce. The post exploded, with fans rallying behind her. A hashtag, "Justice for Ellie," trended, and tips flooded in about Greg's ties to her parents. The deposition was brutal. Ellie sat across from her parents, their faces cold and unfamiliar. Her mother's eyes flicked away. Her father's jaw was set. Their lawyer grilled Ellie, twisting her words to paint her as unstable. "Did you provoke your parents by defying their values?" he asked. Ellie's voice shook but held. "I was a child. They left me to die." The room fell silent, her truth cutting through their lies. As the tour wrapped, Ellie and Jamie returned to Chicago, exhausted but triumphant. The film was now on a major streaming platform, its reach global. Ellie's channel hit 2 million subscribers, and donations for queer youth shelters poured in. But the lawsuit's outcome was uncertain, and Greg was still out there. Ellie felt the weight of her fight, but Jamie's hand in hers reminded her she wasn't alone. They planned their next move, a public rally to demand justice. Not just for her, but for every kid cast out. The rally was set for Chicago's Millennium Park, a bold stand against hate. Ellie and Jamie spent weeks organizing, partnering with LGBTQ+ groups to amplify their message. Posters of Out of the Shadows blanketed the city, and Unseen's followers spread the word. Ellie's nerves frayed as the date approached be speaking to thousands. Her parents' lawsuit still hanging over her. But the fire in her gut burned brighter than her fear. The morning of the rally. Jamie woke her with coffee and a grin. "Today, you're unstoppable," he said. They'd grown closer. Their love a quiet strength amid the chaos. Ellie wore a pin with Rose's quote, "Family is who shows up," as a reminder. The park buzzed with energy, rainbow flags, handmade signs, and faces of every age and color. Marcus and Lena were there, chanting Ellie's name. Ellie took the stage, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "I was left in an alley because of who I am," she began. "But I'm not alone anymore. None of us are." The crowd roared, their cheers drowning out a small group of protesters across the street. Ellie spotted Greg among them, his face twisted with anger. Her resolve hardened. She wouldn't let him intimidate her. The rally drew media, and Ellie's speech went viral. Clips of her words were not invisible, spread across platforms, sparking debates. Some called her a hero, others, a troublemaker. Her parents released a statement, doubling down, "Our daughter needs help, not a platform." Ellie's heart stung, but Jamie's hand on her shoulder kept her grounded. "They're losing," he whispered. The investigator dug deeper, uncovering texts between Greg and her father. They hinted at the break-in, but weren't conclusive. Carla pushed for a settlement, arguing the lawsuit was a stalling tactic. Ellie refused. She wanted a trial, a chance to face her parents publicly. "They don't get to hide," she told Carla. The lawyer sighed but nodded, impressed by Ellie's fire. Out of the Shadows was now a cultural phenomenon. Schools screened it, and queer youth sent Ellie letters, saying her film gave them courage. One letter, from a trans girl named Mia, broke her. "I came out because of you." Ellie framed it, hanging it in their new studio-rented space filled with donated gear. Jamie's photos lined the walls, a gallery of their journey. But the threats escalated. A brick crashed through their studio window, with a note, "Last warning." Ellie's hands shook as she called the police, who took a report but offered little hope. Jamie insisted they install security cameras, his protective streak fierce. That night, he held her close, promising, "We'll get through this." Ellie nodded, but fear nodded her. How far would her enemies go? The trial date was set, 3 months away. Ellie and Jamie used the time to expand their work, launching a nonprofit tied to Unseen. It funded shelters and scholarships for queer youth, with every cent from their film's profits poured in. Ellie felt a shift. She wasn't just fighting for herself anymore, but the stress took a toll. She snapped at Jamie one night, overwhelmed. "I'm dragging you into this mess," she said. He shook his head. "I chose this. I chose you." A breakthrough came when a whistleblower from the church contacted Ellie. They had proof, an email from her father to Greg, ordering the break-in to stop her lies. Ellie's heart pounded as she read it, a mix of vindication and pain. Carla filed a countersuit for harassment, using the email as evidence. The news hit the media, and public support surged. Justice for Ellie trended again, with protests outside her parents' church. As the trial loomed, Ellie prepared her testimony, reliving every moment of her abandonment. Jamie helped her practice, his belief in her unwavering. The night before they left for court, they sat on their studio's roof, the city sparkling below. Whatever happens, Ellie said, we built something real. Jamie kissed her forehead. And we're just getting started. The fight was far from over. But Ellie felt ready for the truth. For love. For everything she'd become. The courtroom was cold. Its wooden benches packed with reporters and supporters. Ellie sat beside Carla, her palms sweaty, as her parents entered. They looked older, their faces etched with defiance. Her mother avoided her gaze. Her father stared straight ahead. Ellie's heart thudded, but Jamie's hand brushing hers under the table steadied her. This was her moment to reclaim her story. Carla opened with the email evidence, projecting it for the jury, her father's words to Greg. Clear and damning. Gasps rippled through the room. Ellie's parents' lawyer scrambled, claiming the email was doctored. But the whistleblower's testimony backed it up. Ellie took the stand, her voice clear despite the knot in her chest. They left me in an alley at 16, she said. Because I'm trans. Because they couldn't accept me. The cross-examination was brutal. Their lawyer twisted her words, painting her as a rebellious teen who'd pushed her parents too far. Didn't you defy their rules? He pressed. Ellie met his eyes. I was honest about who I am. That's not defiance, it's survival. The jury leaned forward. Some nodding. Jamie's proud smile from the gallery gave her strength. Her parents testified next, their voices dripping with rehearsed regret. We wanted to help Elias, her mother said, using her dead name. Ellie flinched but held her composure. Her father claimed they'd left her with resources, a lie that made her blood boil. Carla dismantled their story, presenting photos of the alley wet, empty, no trace of care. The jury's faces hardened. Outside court, supporters rallied, their signs reading, "Truth wins." Ellie's channel exploded with views, her testimony trending. But the hate mail spiked too, some threatening violence. Jamie hired a security guard for their studio, his worry palpable. I can't lose you, he told Ellie one night, his voice cracking. She kissed him fiercely, promising, you won't. The trial stretched over weeks, each day draining. Ellie leaned on Jamie and their community Rosa, Marcus, Lena, and countless fans. A surprise came when Mia, the trans girl who'd written her, flew in to testify. Ellie's film saved me, Mia told the jury, tears streaming. She showed me I'm enough. Ellie wept in the hallway, overwhelmed by the impact of her work. Carla uncovered more, bank records showing her parents funded Greg's group. The evidence was a sledgehammer, shattering their defense. The jury deliberated for 2 days, an eternity for Ellie. She and Jamie spent the wait editing a new, unseen video, a montage of rally moments and fan messages. This is our family, Ellie narrated, her voice steady. Posting it felt like defiance, a reclaiming of her power. The verdict came on a rainy afternoon, the irony not lost on Ellie. The jury ruled in her favor, dismissing her parents' lawsuit and awarding damages for harassment. The courtroom erupted, supporters cheering. Ellie's parents sat stone-faced, their shame exposed. As they left, her mother glanced at her, a flicker of something regret in her eyes. Ellie turned away, choosing Jamie's warmth instead. The countersuit moved forward, with Greg now facing charges. Ellie's parents settled out of court, agreeing to pay restitution to her nonprofit. It wasn't an apology. But it was justice. The media frenzy grew, with outlets calling Ellie a voice for the voiceless. She and Jamie planned a victory screening of Out of the Shadows, inviting every kid they'd featured. The night of the screening, Chicago's biggest theater was packed. Ellie stood on stage, Jamie at her side, as the crowd chanted her name. "This isn't just my story," she said. "It's ours." The film played, its message louder than ever. Afterward, Ellie and Jamie danced in the lobby, surrounded by their chosen family. For the first time, Ellie felt truly free, not just from her past, but to build her future. The victory was bittersweet. Ellie's nonprofit, Unseen Futures, grew rapidly, funding shelters across the country. She and Jamie hired staff, trained volunteers, and planned a second film. But the scars of the trial lingered. Ellie wrestled with nightmares her parents' faces. That alley, Greg's sneer. Jamie noticed her quiet moments, pulling her close. "You don't have to carry this alone," he said. His love was her anchor, but she feared its fragility. Their work took them global. Out of the Shadows screened in London, Tokyo, Sydney, each stop a whirlwind of interviews and panels. Ellie's voice grew stronger, her message sharper. Acceptance isn't optional, it's human. Fans mobbed her, sharing stories of how her film changed their lives. A trans teen in Berlin gave her a drawing of the alley scene, captioned, "You made me brave." Ellie carried it everywhere. Back in Chicago, they expanded the studio, now a hub for queer creators. Marcus and Lena joined the team, their skills shining. Rosa, now retired, advised from the sidelines, her pride evident. But threats persisted. Greg's group, though weakened, sent cryptic messages, vowing to end Ellie's influence. She and Jamie tightened security, refusing to back down. A new challenge emerged. Her parents' church launched a campaign against Unseen Futures, calling it propaganda. They picketed a shelter opening, their signs venomous. Ellie faced them head-on, speaking at the ribbon cutting. "This is for every kid you reject," she said, her voice carrying over their chants. The crowd drowned them out, and the shelter opened to cheers. Jamie proposed a bold idea, a reality series following queer youth rebuilding their lives. Ellie loved it, envisioning a platform for stories like hers. They pitched it to the streaming giant, who greenlit a pilot. Filming began in Chicago, with Mia as their first subject. Her quiet strength captivated viewers, and the pilot tested through the roof. Ellie felt a surge of purpose. This was her calling. But personal doubts crept in. Late one night, Ellie confessed to Jamie, "What if I'm not enough for this? For you?" He took her hands, his eyes fierce. "You're everything. This world, this fight, it's ours." They made love under the studio's skylight, the city's glow a reminder of their shared dream. Ellie woke with renewed fire, ready to face whatever came. The series, Unseen Lives, launched to rave reviews. It topped charts, each episode a testament to resilience. Ellie and Jamie co-directed, their chemistry electric. But the church's campaign intensified, spreading lies online. Ellie fought back with a viral video, exposing their tactics. "They want us invisible," she said. "We won't be." Fans rallied, and donations spiked, fortifying Unseen Futures. Greg's trial loomed, a final hurdle. Evidence mounted against him: texts, footage, witnesses. Ellie testified, her voice unshaken. "He tried to erase me," she said, "but I'm still here." The jury convicted him. A small justice. Ellie felt a weight lift, though her parents' silence stung. She wrote them a letter, not expecting a reply. "I forgive you, but I don't need you." As Unseen Lives wrapped its first season, Ellie and Jamie planned a wedding. It was small, in Millennium Park, with their chosen family: Rosa, Marcus, Lena, Mia. Ellie wore a simple dress, Jamie a suit with a rainbow pin. Their vows were raw. "I choose you." "Every day," Jamie said. Ellie smiled through tears. "You saw me when I was invisible." The season finale aired, dedicated to their wedding. Millions watched, celebrating their love. Ellie looked at Jamie, the city skyline behind them, and knew she'd built more than a movement, she'd built a home. But whispers of a new threat lingered, a shadow from her past waiting to strike. The whisper became a roar. A new group, tied to her parents' church, emerged online, calling themselves Truth Reclaimed. They targeted unseen futures, spreading doctored videos claiming Ellie's shelters groomed kids. The lies gained traction, and sponsors wavered. Ellie's heart sank, but she'd faced worse. She and Jamie rallied their team, launching a counter-campaign with raw testimonials from shelter residents. "This is our truth," Ellie said in a video, her eyes blazing. It went viral, steadying their support. Unseen Lives was renewed for a second season, its impact undeniable. Ellie and Jamie filmed across the U.S., spotlighting queer youth in rural towns and big cities. Each story deepened Ellie's resolve, but the threats grew darker. A firebomb hit one of their shelters, empty but chilling. The police linked it to Truth Reclaimed, but proof was scarce. Jamie tightened their security, his worry etched into sleepless nights. Ellie leaned on their community. Rosa organized fundraisers to rebuild. And Mia, now a confident advocate, spoke at rallies. Ellie's nonprofit grew, opening safe houses in 5 states. But the personal toll was heavy. Ellie struggled with anxiety, the weight of her past and present colliding. Jamie noticed, suggesting a break. "We're no good to anyone burned out," he said. They took a weekend in a cabin, just them, reconnecting under starlit skies. The break recharged Ellie. She returned with a plan: a global summit for queer youth, hosted in Chicago. It would unite activists, creators, and survivors, amplifying their voices. Jamie designed the visuals, his photos the summit's heart. They secured funding from the streaming giant, and preparations consumed them. Ellie felt alive, her purpose clear. But Truth Reclaimed's attacks persisted, hacking their website with slurs. A tip came from an unlikely source: her mother. A cryptic email arrived. No subject line: "I didn't know about the firebomb." "I'm sorry." Ellie stared at it, torn. Was it genuine? Jamie urged caution, but Ellie replied, asking to meet. They chose a neutral cafe, security nearby. Her mother arrived alone, her face gaunt. "I didn't want this," she said, voice breaking. "Your father, he's lost." Ellie listened, her heart conflicted. She didn't forgive, but she saw a crack in her mother's armor. The summit was a triumph. Thousands gathered, from teens to elders, sharing stories of survival. Ellie's keynote, broadcast live, reached millions. We're not just surviving, we're thriving. Jamie's visuals moved the crowd to tears, and proposals for international unseen chapters poured in. Truth Reclaimed protested, but their voices were drowned out by cheers. Ellie felt untouchable, her love for Jamie her strength. The firebomb case broke open. A Truth Reclaimed member turned informant, exposing their leader, her father. He was arrested, the evidence overwhelming. Ellie watched the news, her emotions tangled. Her mother's testimony sealed the case. A quiet atonement. Ellie didn't reach out again. Some wounds stayed open. Instead, she poured her energy into unseen futures, now a global force. Years later, Ellie and Jamie stood on their studio's roof, now a sprawling campus for queer creators. Unseen Lives had won awards, and their shelters housed thousands. They adopted a daughter, a trans teen named Hope, giving her the family Ellie once craved. As they watched the city glow, Ellie reflected on her journey from that alley to this moment. Her parents had called her ugly, unworthy. Now, with cameras and millions, she'd shown the world her beauty, the beauty of truth, love, and resilience. She leaned into Jamie, their daughter between them, and whispered, "We did it." The stars above shone brighter, a testament to their unbreakable light.